Hello friends, this is Dr. Amarjit Kaur, Professor of Accounting and Business Communication at the Department of Management, Gurugram University, Gurugram. This is my privilege that I am here with you to talk about job interviews, a very important topic indeed and is of interest to almost everyone, either who is a fresher or somebody who has a work experience but still is looking for a change. So stay with us for the next few minutes to understand what is job interview or what are job interviews and how to really excel in the job interviews, and also to understand the complete process of appearing in the job interviews. So friends, in the background I would like to say interviewing is an essential part of the job search process in most of the sectors. It can be helpful to know what to expect during the meeting for all, either the first timers or the experienced ones. So let me explain you. As I said, it's a very essential process when somebody is searching for a job, right? So interview and interviewing both becomes part of the job search process, right? And irrespective of the sector you are intending to work in. So this job search process in almost every sector requires interviewing or interview. So for a candidate to appear for interview and for the employer to conduct interview, so they interview people. And this particular process which we call it as interview, it can be very helpful to know, to understand that what do we expect during the meeting which is taking place between the prospective employee and the employer or the representatives of the employer. It could be a panel created by the employer. It could be that the employer himself is not involved in the process. His agent is involved. His agent could be HR manager, any official, any outsider expert, right? So this is a complete process to interact, where the interaction takes place between the future employer and the prospective employee. And this process is applicable both the students, the people who are looking for the job for the first time, so first timers, or the ones who are already experienced, who have worked somewhere but are looking for change, are applying for some location change or role change or company change, sector change, any kind of change, right? So this is the background. Now, stages in job interviews. Interview process involves step-by-step progression known as interview stages. The hiring manager leads the job candidate through these stages. Most job interviews follow a similar structure. So let me explain. So interview process, as we said, it's a process. It involves many steps, and the progression to the next step is always step by step. It cannot be that you can talk to the hiring team at the first instance. So there are certain steps which needed to be followed. So this process has many stages, right? And if you complete the step 1 successfully, only then you will be progressed to the step 2 and then step 3, and consequently you will, you may reach to the last step, or you may actually crack the interview. So it's a step-by-step process, and the manager who is hiring this role, which you have applied as a future employee, so he will actually be the one who would be leading all the candidates who are interested for that particular role. So there would be some person whom we call as hiring manager. Most of the big companies, they have hiring manager. So they are the ones who work for the company known or designated as hiring manager, and they are the one who will reach out to you as a first instance, or they are the ones who will respond to your application if you have applied for at the first hand, and then if they find you that you qualify the essential requirements for that particular role, and then they will call you for the first step in the whole process. So you have applied is one thing at your end, but this interview process will not start unless you have applied for and the hiring manager is confident about your credentials that they matches with the role it has been advertised for. Okay, So hiring manager will always lead a candidate through the whole process, so that this process is smooth, is a good experience, overall good experience for any person who is interested for the job. And majority of the interviews in multinational company or similar kind of companies, they follow a similar structure. So it's a well defined structure and is a similar structure which is followed by majority of the companies, and especially in the same sector. Now we will be discussing about all stages which are involved in the job interview. So there are 5 stages in job interviews. Number 1, conducting introduction. Number 2, making conversation. Number 3, gathering information. Number 4, performing the interview. Number 5, concluding. So there are 5 stages. I shall be discussing these stages in detail now for the next few minutes. So from beginning conducting introduction to ending how to conclude. So friends, making a beginning is very important, that how to introduce yourself. So wondering how to introduce yourself, right? If you are wondering, then aim to create a short compelling story. Use present, past and future approach. So if you are wondering that how should I introduce myself, you should always think about a story which is very, very compelling, which helps you to present the best of you, the best of the skills you have, the best of the credentials you have. And here we guide you, we suggest you to follow an approach which we call as PPF approach, present, past, future approach. So let's take this case study, let's read this case study, that how, because I am saying make a compelling story. So what is impactful compelling story? So here is a here's a caselet to help you understand to create a compelling story. Let me read it for you. I graduated college with a management degree from IIM. It could be any IIM, and I met the hiring manager for a startup at a career fair. I was excited by the opportunity to work for such a large project early in my career. I had worked for 4 marketing internships, and I look forward to putting my skills and experience to the growth of the business of your company. So, if you have read it very carefully, it starts with what? It starts with that what did you do? So it says I graduated from management degree, right? So it means you are an MBA, you are a PGDM, and then you are saying that I graduated and then I met immediately or during my last semester, I met the hiring manager of a startup company, right? So I did not work for a big established company, but I worked for a startup company. And then you are giving it weightage by saying I was very excited by the opportunity to work for such a large project. It was a startup, but the funding was very high. The project was very large, right? So you are bringing out the best of the opportunity you have worked for. The best was the project size was very large. Best was that it was a startup company. Why it is best? Because it has been believed that at a startup you get to learn a lot more, far more than what you would be able to learn at an established company. So this is what is going to help you to showcase the bright side of the opportunities you have availed in the past. And then you are saying I had worked for 4 marketing internships. In just one small sentence, you are putting up your exposure as working as an intern, right? And an area, I am working in the area of marketing. And also you said that I look forward to putting up my skills and experience to the growth of the business of your company. So here you are giving them hope. Here you are giving them something very positive and kind of reassurance that how my skill in the marketing area and my experience of working at a very large project will help your business to grow, right? So this is how you can create a compelling story. And the second thing I said, use present, past and future approach. So let's see what is present, past and future approach. So start with present. So just read it. This means to talk about where you are in your career right now or most recently as it relates to the role that you are interviewing for. And the second point is give a high level view of your role, including your title, responsibilities and the projects that you have worked on most recently. So as I said, use PPF. So it's not provident fund, right? It's not public provident fund. It is present, past, future approach. So that's what we call it as present, past, future approach, not the public provident fund. So in the present, when we say start with present, what should you talk about? You should talk about that what you are doing right now. For example, when I introduced myself today itself, I told that I am Professor of Accounting and Business Communication at Gurugram University. So what does that mean? It means I am talking about my current position, right? Or the most recent. If I am not working, if somebody is not working at the time of interview, he or she should start that, until February this year, until June this year, I was working as a finance manager, as a marketing manager, as a sales executive, whatever the position you had, right? The last and the recent one should be quoted. So you are relating, and then it's not enough. You should relate the role you are interviewing for. So you know what you have applied for. If you have applied for a finance officer role, make sure you talk about the role which you had as finance officer or something similar in the past, in the recent past. Or if you are working currently, then you may say that though at this moment, if you are not working in finance, at this moment, I am working in the role of purchase, but for the but previous 7 years in the same organization, I was working as finance officer, right? So you should relate, because the job is, we are assuming that job, the current job which you have applied for is for finance manager. Similarly, it could be for marketing or HR or purchase or operation or any role. So make sure you relate your current or immediate recent experience or role you have worked at with the role which you have applied for. And then also another point is that you should give a very high level view of your role. Means you should give importance to the job which you worked at. I have worked for this project which really helped to bring out this much revenue, generate this much revenue, which helped the company to improve the procedure, improve the processes, to save this much, like that. You should really give very high weightage or high importance. If we do not, if we undermine the role which we perform, no one would be able to buy what you are trying to sell, right? So you do not have to undermine the role you have worked at. You should give it as much importance as possible, and not only the role but the responsibility you have worked and also the projects you have worked at. So you should really give very high weightage to the role you have worked at, the responsibility you have handled, the projects you have handled, in the most recent area. So start with present by quoting all this. And the next point in this is try to show a relationship between this work and the role that you are applying for. If you are transitioning into a new role or industry, be sure to highlight the transferable skills that you have acquired in the past that apply especially to the position which is applied for. So there's a likelihood that the role you are now applying for is slightly different than what you have worked. So whatever you have worked, out of that pick up those few skills which you think are very, very relevant in the current position as well. I mean the future role which you have applied for, the job you are talking about. It could be use of Excel, to use of a particular software, to client management or software management or a particular software. For example, the finance officer may say that I have worked on SAP or I have worked on Tally, right? So it's a transferable skill that you are skilled at a particular software, right? So you may have worked in some other area. You may not have worked in finance in previously. You may have worked in treasury bills. You may have worked in letter of credit, but you have used the same software which is required for the current role which you have applied for, right? So you should highlight the transferable skill. So it means that the skill which would be required in the new role as well. So that's how you can connect, right, your experience with the position you have applied for. Then how to focus on past, as I said, is PPF. So we have talked about the present. Now I shall be talking about the past. How to focus on past. So I will read it for you. Focus on sharing your first professional ambition for pursuing this career instead of just providing the timeline for how you got here. Use this as an opportunity to share the most impactful information that the recruiter cannot easily find on your resume. So here I am suggesting you for focusing on the past. Share your first professional ambition. For example, if I am a teacher, right, I am a professor, or so I am applying for a new job anywhere. So instead of talking about that what or where did I work in the past, because my resume may be talking about that, I should be talking that how did I get into teaching job. It is my passion. I have inspired for those things which really tells your connect with the role you have applied for, your emotional connect, your mental connect, you are yourself in that role. You see yourself as you are true in that role, right? So you should be talking about the first professional ambition. I was studying MBA at IIM, and there one of the professor who was really devoting so much time ensuring weaker of the weak student also get the chance to understand the topic. He was devoting some extra time to those people without any financial charges on them. He was helping, mentoring people for their career. There were hundreds of people who got benefited out of that mentoring, out of that approach the professor had, and it really motivated me, right? So what I'm trying to tell, I'm trying to refer to past, maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, but I'm trying to connect that past experience or ambition and its linkage in my persuasion for the career I have applied for or I have chosen for, right? Both. So this is what it means. And also one should use this as an opportunity to share the most impactful information, especially that those numbers, that data, that information which any recruiter, any interviewer cannot find easily on your resume, because that's boring. That is, whatever you see on their resume is very professional, very technical, and for times there are jobs where you do not have a choice even what to write in resume. You are supposed to feed information in certain fields, in certain tabs, and it automatically converts into a resume format. There are even such companies as well where softwares are used. So you do not get a chance to design your resume yourself and post it as it is. You are required to fill or answer certain questions, fill certain fields or reply to certain tabs, and automatically the software will generate your resume, right? So there's no creativity which is possible. There's no place where you can share what you think is important and you would really love to share for. So take this as an opportunity during the interview to mention all that which you could not share, which your resume doesn't have. This will really create interest in the mind of interviewers, right? So the next thing is how to focus on future, PPF. Now we are talking about F. F is all about, the future is all about why. So let me read it for you first. This is all about the why. Why do you want this role? Why are you passionate about this opportunity? How this role excites you? So all the answers to why, right? So first of all, you should always be talking about that why are you keen to work in this role. Maybe you have already worked 10 years and you may justify that I have such a long experience, such a long inning in this area, and I want to utilize it for same experience but in a different sector for my own satisfaction. If you are applying for the similar sector, then you may say I want to excel it because your company is known for best of the practices, and I would like to develop myself by in terms of working or getting a chance to work in your company, right? So you are giving answer to why you are keen for this role. Also need to establish your passion. Your passion could be by talking about the past and linking it with the future. Nothing is independent, nothing goes standalone. So when you say that you had 20 years ago, you talked about you wanted to be a professor, 10 years ago you decided to work as a professor. After looking at your professor, his satisfaction, charm in his eyes, calmness on his face, you could give anything, and you can say that I have worked a lot in industry and I have gained a lot of practical experience, and now I want to bring that experience on table for students, because that is what I was keen to work 20 years ago, which I could not pursue, 10 years ago, which I could not pursue. So show your passion, passion about the role, about this opportunity which you are trying to avail, right? And also really put it down very clearly in clear words that why and how this role excites you. This excites you because there's an emotional connect with the role. This excites you because there's a financial need, there's a compulsion. This excites you because somebody is there in the back of your mind, which is a cause, which is a reason. So this is about why this role, why you are passionate, why you are excited about this role. Further on how to focus on future, aim to establish that you have researched the company, its values, its vision and mission. Address how you support the company's goals and how its value align with yours. You are showing them that you are a good match. So let me discuss this. You should aim to establish that very clearly during the discussion, during the interview itself, that you are well versed by the company, where it is situated, when it came into function, how many verticals it has, what is the value structure, what are the values followed by the company, the vision statement, the mission statement. You should be able to connect it, bring this. It may not be asked, of course, during the interview, but you should be leading the answers, leading the interview in a way that you are able to connect this learning you had beforehand. You are talking about the future. And also you should address that how you support the mission of the company, the goal of the company. So how your goals, your personal goals concur with the company's goal, right? So you should be showing them that you are a good match. The purpose is to establish, see, I am the best match for this role, right? Irrespective how many people have applied for. So this is how we talk about future. So I will try to explain this, how to focus on future, with the help of one example, small caselet, which I am going to read it for you now. So now I am looking for an opportunity to work more collaboratively with cross-functional heads. I would love to learn more about other aspects of marketing. I am excited to see that this role would allow me to do that while still using social media content as a way to share stories that will elevate your brand. So you are focusing on future. You are focusing that how this company where you are interviewing at can elevate their brand by using your skills, right? So you are telling them that I am looking for an opportunity to work collaboratively, cross-functional heads. Maybe you have worked only in one marketing segment, in finance segment, in any particular area, but now you are trying to widen the learning platform for you. You are trying to tell that I want to work in cross-functional areas, right? And I would love to learn more about other aspects of marketing. So you are saying that I have worked in one aspect of marketing, that is social media, as per this example. But there are so many other aspects, be it search engine maximization, be it for customer relationship, be it post sales service. There could be so many areas of marketing, sales, etc. So you are trying to tell them that you are excited about this role, and you are trying to establish that you have exposure, as you have worked in social media content. It will help you to share stories to elevate the brand as a company, right? So this is the first thing where we use PPF, because the PPF, if you made a first beginning as a very good one, believe me, you will not fumble in the further conversation. So this was stage 1. In stage 2, what we do, we make conversation. Try to talk about, oh wow, your office is so situated at such a beautiful place. A very common. What a weather is! What a pleasant weather is this! What a what a sunny morning day is this in winters! It's pleasant to be here. Something like that. So make conversation other than the journal conversation to begin with. That will give you time to cool down. That will give you time to assess the surroundings in that interview room. Then gather information. Try to say, I am this. He or she may answer. In India, we generally do not answer that I am this, but in multinational companies, they will answer I am X, I am Y, I am Z. So, at this stage, the third stage, the interviewer is trying to gather information about you by asking question. Where do you put up? Who are your family member? Your marital status? Your educational background, to begin with. So, they are gathering information. In the fourth stage, you are actually at the interview. You are performing the interview where you are answering the technical questions, right? It could be pertaining to a skill you have, the software you know, the function area you know. So that is the fourth stage where the real interview about the technical aspect is happening. And the last stage is, conclude. This is very important. You should be concluding, by talking that, okay, so I expect to hear from you, or you may conclude by asking the hiring manager, what do you expect now after this stage? So something like that. So you are keeping something open for future. And by thanking everyone, you may like to send a thank you mail to conclude the interview, that it was pleasant meeting you all. Or if not, then during the interview itself, if you do not have the mail IDs, you think you cannot access in future even, just thank everyone during the interview when you stand up to leave the room, right? So that's the concluding part. So these were the 5 stages, friends, which we talked about the job interviews. I appreciate your presence. Thank you very much.